Okay, so when I was a kid, I was made to feel very bad about myself if I were to lose. Particularly, it didn't matter what it was, but sports were a big thing. Like my grandfather would fucking scream at me. I'm not talking shit, by the way. This is just speaking matter of factly. This is just what happened. Like I think he did the best with the information he had, but he fucked me up a little bit. So, uh, so yeah, he would like scream at me, and make me feel worthless if I were to do poorly. And I think the thinking there was like, oh, if I make him feel bad, he won't ever want to lose again. And it did. That's true. But the issue is that you need to lose. You need to lose at stuff, right, in order to get better at them. Nobody, nobody dives into anything and is amazing at it. Anything that's worth a shit, anyway. Like, like a game or a skill or a sport that is considered like something of high esteem. You need to fail multiple times in order to know how to not fail. And that's one of the first things I learned from Jam, um, was the difference between the mindset of somebody, a fixed mindset, and a learner's mindset. Somebody with a fixed mindset perceives themselves to be, let's say, a good player or the best whatever. So when they lose, it's a shot to their identity. And I experienced that very much. Like I would fucking spiral if I lost at stuff. Um, but the mindset of a learner is like, oh, okay, this is an opportunity to learn something from this loss. And not only is that better for you like mentally, it's also just like strategically better, because who's gonna perform more? The guy that's like losing his shit, like breaking stuff, just kyling some drywall, or is it the guy that's like, huh, all right, well that happened. How can I make sure that doesn't happen again? You know what I mean? So it's just better overall for you and for your mission, your goal, whatever the goal is. Anger. We'll talk about anger. So again, goes back to the childhood, because things that happen to you as a kid, they're not within your control, but it's like you're programmed by someone else, and the person that programmed you had no fucking idea what they were doing. So when you become an adult, it's your job to like reprogram yourself. Um, and that's where people like Jam come into play, but I'll talk about that in a second. I'll get back to anger. I have a tendency to tangent, but yeah. So anger. Anger was the only acceptable emotion for me to display as a child in front of my grandfather, because crying was for girls. Uh, so that carries with you also. Anything. So basically, anger was an issue for me for a long time, is what I'm trying to say. And that's a problem. And Jam is very good at reading people. He's good at figuring you out and knowing what you specifically need to hear. So I'll give you an example. In regards to like other people provoking me, he told me that if you allow that person to anger you and put you in a heightened emotional state, they now have control of you. You're essentially their slave. And him knowing me, obviously my reaction is gonna be like, I'm not anybody's fucking slave, whatever. So now when I feel that swelling up, I remember that, like what he said. Um, and even just the delay of me taking a second, it makes it a lot easier to like stay calm and keep my composure. Um, and that's a good example of like the tools that he gives you. Like traditional therapists, like I spoke to a therapist one time, like years ago, and I told her, look, I'm not exercising how I know I should. I'm not eating well. I'm not sleeping well. I'm often dehydrated. I have no sense of purpose in my life, even. Like, I'm just kind of aimlessly floating. And her first reaction to hearing those things was to suggest putting me on drugs. And I just stopped taking her seriously on the spot, because to me, drugs like that should be reserved as like a last, like there's no other option. Like, we have to put you on this, basically. But I wasn't even checking off my basic mental health like markers at all, and she wanted to throw me on that. And I'm not completely shitting on meds or traditional doctors or anything like that. But what I am saying is a lot of them have like a merchant's mentality. Like, they would rather perpetually treat you for a very solvable problem that you do not need drugs for. And Jamvad is like one of those rare individuals who has the certification, like the credentials to help people. But he isn't trying to treat you, he's trying to cure you. Like, he's like, here, this is how, what's your problem? Okay, this is how you solve that problem. Now go do it. You still have to put the effort in, obviously. He's not like a wizard. Like, he doesn't have magical powers, but he's very good at finding the root of the issue and telling you how you can combat that issue. Because he's not going to take advantage of you. He's not going to try and, like, you know, rob you blind. He's going to give you what you need to reorient yourself. Yeah. And I would say, not even just on a clinical level, he's just like, I would consider my friend also. So it's kind of like, for me, it feels so much better going to like somebody that I trust and respect and enjoy talking to anyway. So he's not just like a doctor. Like, he's like a good person to talk to. I'm coming up on 10 minutes and I'm rambling shit. All right. Yeah, if you're having mental health issues, go shoot him a message on Discord. If you're not following the channel, you're fucking up.